Welcome to the Clapback Show. I'm the one and only Big Silence, and this is the original Clapback Show. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and the rest will amaze you beyond. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the one and the only Clapback Show, and this is the Clapback Show. Stories of the first famous faces. Today we will be taking a deep dive into the soul of the 70s. Suave and sophisticated top singers throughout that whole era, and squeeze out a creative artist that would change the way church and soul music would sound from the point he touched the mic until this very moment. This one particular artist would be known as the Honorable late, great Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi, along with 3 of his siblings, whom all were very fond of church and singing in choirs thanks to the connections of their evangelist father. If you hear a note with a catchy twist at the end of it and it stands out in a choir of 1 million people, then chances are that you probably are hearing a note from Sam Cooke in one of his heavenly sent songs that has been purchased and played over 1 million times. From the early days of the talented singer's childhood, he would be southernly oriented by his father, Charles Cooke, who worked as a full-time evangelist minister and moved the family to South Chicago with an estimate of 45 cents in his pocket. Sam Cooke's mother supported the family by taking care of Sam and his family, while the father preached across the world and allowed Sam to indulge in different quiet groups, starting him off into his first group with his siblings called the Singing Children. The legendary artist Sam Cooke told his brother Elsie one day that each popsicle stick that he placed in the dirt was a person, and he would sing to those popsicle sticks as if they were a live audience. Things like this and writing songs on toilet tissue paper would be a clear indication that the young Sam Cooke was determined to become the best at whatever he touched. He even stated to his brother at one point that there would be no need to get a job when he could just sing for a living. He stated, "Why work when I can just sing for money? I mean, really, that's what I'm gonna do." He must have meant every word he said to his brother, because over the next few years, the soulful, inspiring artist would literally cook up around 30 timeless hits throughout his recording phase, which didn't last too long considering the mind-blowing twist that had taken place later on in the story. But let's take this a step at a time, because this is the great Sam Cooke, not to be confused with your average role model. At the time of this documentary, I could only recover in my research 3 siblings of Sam Cooke, so I've come to the assumption that these were the members in his first group. You have his sister Agnes Hoskins, his brother Elsie Cooke, and another brother by the name of Charles Cooke. The Singing Children lasted for a while until Charles Cooke was recruited to the army, causing the siblings to separate. This is what caused the next group to be formed, called the Highway QCs. Sam Cooke definitely had the looks to attract any and every crowd. Another group called the Soulsters decided to pick up Sam Cooke due to the outstanding lead voice he had. Aretha Franklin has even stated that she was included in the roster during one of his tours and that they had become close friends. She has so stated that at the time the pop star Sam Cooke was not married, and that they would on some occasions get slightly acquainted in rooms with only them two in it with the door closed. If you know this other pop star, Aretha Franklin, then you know a woman of class and over-the-top elegance, then you would also know that she would never ever reveal the actual details of her intimate times with Sam Cooke or any fling within her timeline, but she did speak of it in absolute glee and concealed attraction behavior that only a person of true love experience would understand. Anybody new bringing Sam Cooke to the group would put a spin on gospel music and attract a slew of women every performance. It was noted that Sam Cooke could turn out a church audience just like the Keith Sweat Show. Over time with the soulsters, Sam Cooke became so brilliant with his art that he began to start writing songs for the entire group. Also, just like every other artist in between the 60 seconds and 70 seconds, if you came from a church and you were good enough to be signed to a label, chances are you switched up your style from gospel to R&B. This would upset the father of Sam Cooke, but with a voice like Sam's, the father had no choice but to love his sweet choir-like melodies, and he told Sam one thing and spoke about it no more. Sam's father stated, well, if he makes more money singing that way, then it's not a religion, it's a job. That pretty much sealed the deal on us being blessed with an artist for the rest of our lives, and more songs would be coming in their most rarest form. At this time, Sam Cooke was busy traveling with a new group on tour through entertainment services called the Chipman Circuit, which contained a large amount of black African-American artists back in that time. This included solo artists as well as groups due to segregation going on, and African Americans at that time still were trying to be accepted to do what white people could do. The basics like drink water or use a bathroom in nice areas instead of being sectioned off because of your skin being black. Sam would stop in between tours on these Chipman circuits and he would be tested by racist incidents. Sam Cooke would never hesitate to stand up to the racism and mistreatment. As he would be on tour traveling and have any stops on the road, he would tell the officers that he will not push any car off any road. Not his car, not your car. Sam Cooke stated, ask your wife who I am, she will tell you I'm not a pusher, I'm a singer. The group even had a show in Little Rock, Arkansas at the Military Armory and was told they could only do 2 shows, to which Sam Cooke responded with a no. Sam said when he performed for one side, he performed for the other side at the same time, and he didn't care what the segregated rules was. Talk about a singing Martin Luther King Jr. in his prime. All this, and the singer kept showing up and showing out at all his shows, and the crowds only got bigger due to his excelled form of delivering music and the way he loosened his tie and refused to be a statistic to the insults and degrading as a black man. The way the world-changing magician would stand his ground and show the remainder of the world this is how a strong black man should walk through life was so astonishing to me. But even the strongest man can be broken down to a fraction after receiving news like what was delivered to the artist said. At some point during the regular touring as scheduled, one of the drivers had a horrible wreck that caused the top of the car to be completely cut off, resulting in the driver losing his life. Prayers and doves sent to the family of the deceased driver. No matter how long ago this was, the pain is still in the air. Can you imagine trying to go back to singing after something like that? Well, life goes on, and the music artist continued performing since he was unscathed, but not long after that situation, he ended up losing his wife in a car crash. This would be another devastating blow that Sam would have to mourn through again and release a song dedicated directly to his demise wife called When a Baby is Sleeping. The tragic losses were so strong that the songs he released after that were not hitting the charts like his early songs were doing. At this point, Motown was just now spinning off with hits, and this was the time Sam Cooke would switch over to Soar Records, whom was connected to Motown. The first act he signed to his label was the Soul Stirrers, and the reason for this name was to incorporate gospel as well as the album to reach out to all the gospel musicians that he felt wasn't getting the right recognition as they deserved. Sam wanted the world to not forget about his ties and loyalty to the church organization, even though he had switched over to soul. At this point, Sam owned his own masters, so he wrote each song you would hear him on. He also wrote for the first group that he signed. At this point, Sam Cooke had been through a couple of heavy-hitting traumas and was somehow able to manage his way to a bigger deal with more ownership and also be able to sign with the biggest record label at that time, which was Motown. The man was signed and signing artists at the same time. Now, if you can't figure out what that is, then let me tell you what that is. It's complete and utter talent at its finest and most rawest, rarest form. He went out and purchased himself an extremely large home with a beautiful car. This was the time to enjoy some of his fruits from the labor. He couldn't be stopped at this point. With his like twisting the night away change, gonna come bring it home to me, and many more hits popping out the woodworks, he would be performing at places like the Harlem Square Club back in 1963. Pay attention very closely. Sam Cooke stated, "I think you can always write something that people can understand." Sam Cooke was an activist as well, so he linked up with other celebrity activists like Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, which caused Sam to start infusing politics into his music, which would then reach all the people listening to his album. This meant that all the people that ignored crooked politicians and white people misusing their power finally had somebody to speak out loud for them in beautiful tones across the world. If you missed one speech, you could easily catch it over and over on the radio for all to hear. Even though that was against Sam Cooke, had to hear his power through the speakers, and this would turn the legendary successful artist into a ticking time bomb. Sam Cooke had no clue he only had days left before being tied up in one of the weirdest stories in history. At this time, Sam Cooke had released his last and probably biggest hit song titled "Changed in a Come" that was created for the purpose of stopping segregation and bringing all races together under one umbrella. And the song may have been the spark of a lot of rumors on this next dose of info I'm about to deliver to you guys. At some point during one of Sam Cooke's late night escapades, a very tragic situation took place in Los Angeles at a motel where authorities found the high-profile artist Sam Cooke stripped demise, body covered in a trench coat, which is a long coat with a thin-sized, weather-resistant material. The whole world just watched rhythm and blues plus soul blended with gospel leave our presence right in the midst of still becoming bigger than he was. Rumors quickly start to spin around after investigators flipped and turned over what they could that some lady and the artist had got into some scuffle when a firearm went off and hit the artist close to him that expected this human being to arrive back home that evening or that week. You can believe that only 100 more rumors started to unravel themselves about the highly honored artist when you mix a rising pop star with a deaf and a female. I won't even get into all the different stories that dropped, but one main detail I wanted to add would be the same detail that kept resurfacing back in the story, and I believe that. They opened up an investigation to find this info out, but it is about someone paying to have the icon taken out. Someone may have possibly paid the woman whose name I won't say because she is not important in this story. What is important is that Sam Cooke was worth millions of dollars and had just pretty much took over a majority of Motown Records writing and publishing, on top of the fact that he left groups and labels causing more background enemies. Sometimes going to a better financial spot may mean firing or leaving some folks behind, causing them to add to your enemy list. To this day, no one has been charged or even linked to the demise of Sam Cooke, causing an even bigger concern on if it was somebody in the record industry that had money to cover it up. I mean, who knows him, not a detective, just a journalist and a streamer. This was so sad the way this trailblazer left this planet, and it upsets me how they still haven't solved the case. Prayers and condolences with Dove sent straight to the family and to all the Cookes. Just hang in there and your prayers will be answered, because there are too many fans that won't let this rest, and if I have to, I will do a documentary on the mystery of his case not being solved. Until then, I am your storyteller, and this is the clapback stories of the first famous faces.